All right. Sekou, you there?
I'm here. What's up, man? How you doing?
I am doing good, man. Are you still what jacket you wearing tonight?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to decide now. My fashion consultant is coming through the door. I can hear it downstairs. I'm colorblind as hell, so my wife usually has to pick out my clothes for me.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, she's got some good taste, man. Not too many people
yeah, yeah.
not too many people can pull off that jacket you were wearing. Now, I couldn't pull it off cuz I'm an ugly guy. You're a smooth-looking cat. You can pull it off. I could never pull off that jacket, man. That was nice. That was nice.
Hey, man, it's the magic of TV. You know what I'm saying? I let the makeup ladies get me right, and they hide all the flaws. So,
Well,
and then, like I said, my wife, she got the eye, man. The fashion consultant, she put the suit together for me. And
well,
I walk in, everybody thinks I got style. It ain't me.
you got plenty of style, and there's no makeup that could save me. So that's probably why I won't be working there with you. All right, follow him on Twitter at Sekou Smith NBA. You know, I was saying this, Sekou, that David Copperfield doesn't have squat on Pat Riley because yesterday he unloads Dion Waiters and James Johnson in the same deal. And I am sitting there going, this guy is absolutely amazing. I think he uses Jedi mind tricks. What do you say?
Man, look, he is literally Yoda
Yeah.
in the NBA. He's got abilities that other front offices and other GMs, because Andy Ellisberg and the rest of that staff down there are killing it, and they always have. But they do things that other people don't dream of. Man, they're playing a different game, and they understand the landscape of the league, what Miami offers. If you don't think that Andre Iguodala, calculates all of that in determining where he's going to go in this deal, and then you hit Memphis, and you, like you said, you unload stuff that you had no use for, that you got killed for doing in the first place. Everybody was criticizing them when they signed Whiteside to that big money. Tyler Johnson, James Johnson, Waiters, all of those things that looked like blemishes at one point are now moved out the way for you to gather assets and things that are going to help you move up the pecking order in the East. Not to mention the player development you've done, with Hero and Kendrick Nunn and Duncan Robinson and Bam Adebayo and Derrick Jones. I mean, run down the list of accomplishments. I don't know what street do they have in Miami that's named after Pat Riley, because they ought to get the sign up now. He's earned that.
I've gotten to. I said this earlier. I got to say that if I was a GM in pro sports, and I'm looking at my caller ID, and it says Riley or Belichick, I'm not picking it up, bro. I'm just not picking it up. I'm going to get bamboozled. So why am I even going to bother answering the damn phone, right?
Well, it's not just that, because think about what they're doing. They're going around making deals that any reasonable GM would make if it was presented to you. The problem is you call around this league, and there's not as many teams with the institutional courage to make choices that they might get knocked for. A lot of people do things based on what the public reaction will be to the move. When it was time to sign all those guys I mentioned to those contracts, the Heat didn't hesitate. They did what they thought was best at the time, knowing full well that they'd be able to work themselves out of those problems if they became problems at a later date. And that's what smart organizations in this league never fret about paying a certain salary, because you don't have to live with it if you're a deal-making front office or a GM who makes deals, a team president who's known for making deals. When it's time for somebody to pick that phone up, the Pat Rileys, the Sam Prestis, the Daryl Morey's of the world, the Danny Ainges of the world, they get somebody to pick that phone up and get a deal done.
Sekou, and of course we're talking with Sekou Smith from NBA TV and the Hang Time blog. Sekou, when you look at the move to unload Justice Winslow, did you think it was kind of time? For me personally, it was, because there was a lot of injuries involved. And that's the other thing. I'm Memphis. I'm wondering, why are you trading? I know this young man has a lot of talent. I like him, but, man, he broke down a lot. I thought it was time for Miami to move on. What did you think of the Justice move?
I think it says a lot about not just Justice Winslow's talent, that Memphis would want to get their hands on him. And you got to understand, The new GM in Memphis, is a Duke grad, so he's a guy who may have a connection or some intel that we don't as the general public. The other part of that is it's not so much about Justice Winslow breaking down as it is about him becoming expendable based on what you have on the roster. He doesn't do anything that Jimmy Butler can't do better. And if you add Andre Iguodala, you have a redundant piece in Justice Winslow, who doesn't maybe fit into what you're trying to do as far as stretching the floor with Duncan Robinson and Tyler Herro. So the minutes that you would have found for him in this new rotation, in this surprising rotation that you have in Miami, will be different. I think Kendrick Nunn also makes him expendable because you don't need him as a secondary playmaker, ball handler like you did when it was just going Dragic. So there's all these reasons why Justice Winslow might not fit in this current Miami landscape, but might be a perfect fit with what Memphis is trying to do. And I think people look at trades and they're always looking for who got fleeced or who came out the winner or loser. Sometimes it really is a situation where both teams are getting what they want, and it just doesn't look like, that's the case from an external view.
No, listen, if Justice stays healthy, mission accomplished for them. They got exactly what they wanted. They can afford to get rid of these salaries with James Johnson and Dion. They can take the cap hit. They can move on because they got a bunch of young guys right now. So I completely understand the method behind the madness. They got some value. They feel they got value in return. It's really all about Justice staying healthy. He stays healthy, they got themselves a nice player. That's it.
Absolutely. He's a talented cat. Everybody knows that. But, there's one thing, people always talk about Father Time being undefeated. Well, Father Time and his cousin injury can ransack any career. Yeah. I mean, I don't care how talented you are, how determined you might be to push yourself to be the best that you can be. Injuries they don't discriminate. And sometimes a guy is just, for whatever reasons, more prone to some of those bumps and bruises than others. It's nothing you can do about it, but try and fight through it, move on, and continue doing what you do.
And what the other thing that I liked about all of this is, Riley only had a bad time here a couple of years ago where he made a couple of bad decisions with, Whiteside and Tyler and all that stuff and James and Dion. And now he's been able to kind of overcome that. I love the discipline that they showed with Iguodala and even Ginobili, that they were like dead set on having that open cap space for 2021.
Yeah, to me that's the real win for Miami, is that they did all this without hamstringing themselves, for 21, which is the summer that everybody's pointing to, because we don't know what's going to happen. If Giannis decides to sign that extension, with the Bucks, that takes the air out of that entire free agent summer. But what it allows you to do if you're Miami is to stay flexible. That you have an option. If you have a player in place in Iguodala who's there now, and is expendable and flexible enough for you to move that or do something different with that contract in the future, if you do pursue, one of the elite free agents of that summer of 21. And you have to plan, for the now and the future in this league. It can't just be about, we got to do whatever is best for us right this minute without any consideration for what's coming down the line. It's smart business. It's the way you run your organization. If you had the kind of consistency Miami has had all these years with Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra as a coach all these years, weathering storms, not making, hasty decisions or knee-jerk reactions when things are going well. This is how you maturely manage a franchise. There are a bunch of people in places like New York, and Phoenix and all these other places who would love to have the kind of structure and discipline to stay true to whatever you got going, as opposed to just reacting to whatever comes down next.
You mean like the Knicks?
I would definitely say the team I'm talking about in New York would be the
Knicks. Sekou Smith joining us. Now, Sekou, it was reported, and you tell me because you got more insight than we do, the whole thing that happened with, now I'm forgetting his name, that they couldn't trade for him.
Danilo Gallinari from Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Was it more about compensation? Was it more about Gallinari, the money that he wanted? Which one was it? Because we know where Miami stood, that they were going to be disciplined in the way they were going to structure it. So was it more about Gallinari or was it more about compensation?
No, I've heard conflicting things. I've heard both. There were so many moving parts on deadline day. Again, this is 2 years in a row where we've had quite a few deals getting done. There were opportunities to make some deals that didn't get finished, and that's part of the process. Gallinari would have been, you talk about what pushes a team over the top. If you'd have added Gallinari to what you did in Miami on deadline day, then that, to me, that seriously would have set up a situation where Miami leapfrogs Boston, Philly, and whoever else might be in that mix behind Milwaukee, and is right there, right there perched under the Bucks as the favorites in the East. Because that would have given you another high level scorer, a guy who can score from all levels, and a guy with the size and the ability to be plugged into that system defensively that would allow him to play at a much higher level on that end of the floor. So, there's so much that could have been done with a player with that kind of talent. But that, like I said, there's a lot of deals. Look at all of the different machinations that had to get done for teams to get these deals. And there was teams being roped in and players being sent to places. You had to take a step back to figure it all out. And this was just one of the deals that the Heat couldn't pull off. But it tells you what their thinking was. We heard all this drama and rumblings about, hey, they're going to, make a deal for Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook. Well, it ends up Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro. Think about the young guys who stepped into the void from Miami to keep them from making one of those deals where they had to take on those huge salaries and gave them the flexibility to do what they did yesterday.
Good stuff. Now, let me ask you, couldn't I make an argument that I think Miami will be in front of Philly already? The other team's okay because – what's going on with Philly right now? They're 1-13 against teams over 500 on the road. This is a team that cannot play on the road whatsoever, Sekou. Meanwhile, at least Miami's a 500 team right around on the road, and they're dominant at home like a lot of the good teams are in the NBA. What the hell is going on with the Sixers?
I think the Sixers have a clear disconnect between what their coach and front office want done and what their superstars want done. You run the risk in this league that when you compensate guys like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons so early in their careers before they've really proven themselves to be dependable, reliable playoff, caliber stars, you could fall into a trap where you think you got one thing and you find out you got something totally different. What's the motivation for those guys to bend and sacrifice or do anything outside of what they want to do at greater good in Philly when they've already been compensated like their all-time great superstar? I never like to nitpick about guys getting paid because I think all these guys are worth whatever the market bears.
I agree.
But sometimes everyone is not capable of absorbing the responsibility to come with those big checks. That, hey, you got to be responsible now for the greater good. It's on you when things don't turn out well. It's on you when this team doesn't perform to whatever the expectation is. And unfortunately for a guy like Brett Brown, he's going to be the casualty in Philly. You wonder, well, how does this sort itself out? Well, we all know how this works. The first guy on that firing line tends to be the coach because he's the one that's most expendable. No GM, team president, or owner is firing himself. And you can't get rid of talent in this league with the assumption that you're going to get comparable talent at some point down the road to make up for it. So it's always the coach in the lurch, and that's why they get paid what they get paid and get hired to get fired.
And it almost – see, the problem is I look at Embiid, and it looks like he's, the guy that worries more about social media and clowning around and all that. And then I look at Simmons, and he's more worried about, hanging out with Kylie Jenner. And I don't see two cats that should be crazy dedicated to their craft. And Simmons runs away from a jump shot like, it's scaring the hell out of him. So he's got to stay around the paint. Yesterday, Joel Embiid, after he saw what the Greek was doing, the freak was doing in the first half, he hung out behind the three-point line. It's just I don't see that that determination, that dedication that you would want from young stars to try to establish themselves. And it's maybe what you were just talking about. They got their money and they're happy and it's over. Is that really what your goal was? Because that guy that was playing yesterday and making Joel Embiid look really, really bad, he's not thinking about the $200-300 million that's about to come his way. He doesn't worry about that stuff. He worries about being great.
Well, and that's the dividing line. If we had a league full of guys who all were grinding for the kind of greatness that you're talking about with Giannis, we wouldn't get him on the floor. It would, every game would be a 10 out of 10 and electric. And every great player would be pushing so hard that you wouldn't be able to withstand the energy of those guys, especially when they team up on, the same rosters. I mean, it takes a special breed to put in the work and to be the consistent superstar. I tell people all the time, the toughest thing to do in the NBA is not to reach the level of stardom, it's to sustain it. It's to do it year after year. It's why you appreciate the guys like LeBron, Kevin Durant, some of these other guys who have done it, going on a decade in running. And for some of them, even longer. 17 seasons for LeBron. That is the most difficult lift in sports, to get to a star level, whether it's all-star, all-NBA, MVP, whatever, and then to do it over and over again. The energy, the effort, the mental fortitude it takes is something that not even people in the league who are watching it on a daily basis can appreciate sometimes. It is the next level of sports. And if you can't handle that, all that comes with that, you watch guys fall by the wayside the way the Sixers young guys are now. Because Embiid and Ben Simmons are still young enough that they can turn it around. They can find that special something you got to tap into to be great and to do it at the right times and on a consistent level. But then you look at Kawhi Leonard, you look at some of these other players who have found it, who have reached that stratosphere, and you ask yourself, are they that much more talented than these guys, or just do they have the drive, work ethic, focus, and determination to sustain it better than those guys?
Right, exactly. That's the impression you get too. Sekou, two more things before I let you go. One, we watched this battle, and I'm 3,000 miles away in Miami. But even it intrigues me to watch the battle between the two LA teams for Western Conference supremacy. They're fighting for their reputations. Obviously, the Clippers want to become the team in LA. The Lakers want to keep them down, so they are that team. They're battling for Morris. They're battling for Collison. I mean, the battles are on all levels and all fronts, not just on the court. I find it fascinating that the battle for the conference is happening in one arena and in one city.
Yeah, they're battling for the soul of the city out there. They're battling to see who gets to run L.A. for the foreseeable future. It's like one of those deals where you have, I told somebody the other night, it's like having neighbors, and you and your neighbor are trying to compete to see who can put up the most Christmas lights. And you come home one day and you see he's got some more lights strung through one of his trees, and you go out there and put some more in your bushes, and then he's got some hanging from the garage. Every day the Lakers and Clippers are measuring themselves by each other. And they're the two teams that everybody believes are coming out of the West. I would be shocked if we're anywhere other than L.A. for the Western Conference Finals, and I would be stunned, if the Clippers, at the rate they're going, as good as the Lakers are, as much raw talent as they have at the top in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, if you can find a deeper, more versatile, rugged, complete group than what the Clippers have put together, I need to see them, because this is one of the better rosters I've seen in this league in the past years. When you're talking about top to bottom, they can go 10 deep if they need to and get quality production all the way up and down that roster. That's a crazy thing to see when you have, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, and some of these other guys they got coming off the bench to support two superstars like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That's next level stuff. And then you got a coach like Doc Rivers over there running the show. It's amazing what they've done, for the Clippers. It's the first time in our lifetime that they've ever come into a season with the expectation of being there when it's all said and done. And to me, that's got to be a shock to the system for the Clippers and a shock to the system for the Lakers, because they've never had to deal with it.
Yeah, that's right. And while we have the Godfather here, they have the god in Jerry West. Because
No question.
Pat is one of the great GMs of all time, but Jerry West is the greatest GM. He is the GOAT of all GOATs when it comes to
No
GMs
question.
in the history of the NBA. It's not even close. Just a follow up on this one, the loss yesterday of Morris was enormous because the Clippers, they don't need him nearly as much. They won't have to use him nearly as much. But the Lakers would have used Morris like a real important piece to their team. They really needed Morris. That was a huge loss yesterday.
Yeah, the Lakers don't have, they don't have the kind of quality of player in terms of the ruggedness and kind of that. People always talk about a dude having dog and he's, got the dog in him and he's this kind of competitor. They don't have that quality of player in terms of depth for the Lakers that I think the Clippers have. But the Lakers have a group that, depending on who's healthy and who's hot at the right time, they could be just as devastating. That's a heavyweight fight waiting to happen in the Western Conference playoffs. I think it needs to be in the Western Conference Finals. Let's hope that they take care of their business and get there, because that's the kind of showdown to me that defines careers for a guy like Anthony Davis and for Paul George, and redefines or reshapes the definition of careers for guys like LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard. We're talking about guys who are champions, finals MVPs, who have done this at the highest level, but this gives them an opportunity to sharpen themselves once again and kind of show us why they sit in the positions they do in the league hierarchy.
Sekou Smith, of course, from NBA TV. Follow him on Twitter at Sekou Smith NBA. We'll wrap it up with this. Sekou, we saw something pretty phenomenal yesterday. Daryl Morey is kind of insane. He's like an insane scientist that will try any kind of experiment out there. I mean, he probably was Dr. Frankenstein in another lifetime. But you got to tip your hat to him, man. He knows that what he had, he wasn't going to go anywhere in that conference. So he said, all right, let's try something completely different. Him and D'Antoni went completely small, and that gave the Lakers fits yesterday. And who knows, this might be something that they're starting now all of a sudden in this league. Will this experiment work, or was this just an aberration?
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's a fantastic and intriguing look at what I was talking about earlier, man. You got to have the institutional courage to believe in whatever it is you do and try something different. Like, you're not going to beat Milwaukee. If you're Houston, you're not beating Milwaukee, the Clippers, or the Lakers the way you were constituted before you went super small.
Yep.
Now, is this a guaranteed method to slay one of those giants? I don't know. I have no idea. But I guarantee it is. It gives you infinitely more opportunities to try and see if you could do it a different way than it would have been if you'd have just standed the way you were. I love that D'Antoni is a guy who reinvented the game years ago with those Phoenix teams, and he's still tinkering. I mean, he's still messing around in the lab trying to come up with ways to get this thing done. He's never broken through, never won a championship, never played for a championship. But I will give him all credit for trying all these different methods to see if he could get it done. There'll be a lot of guys who knew they couldn't, didn't try anything different, and went to their grave without really going all out and stretching themselves to the limit. Mike D'Antoni can walk away, whether it works or not. He can walk away from this thing knowing that he tried everything he had in his toolbox to win and to win big and to overcome whatever these obstacles, whatever these other teams who were clearly better than his squad. Not everybody's going to be able to say that at the end of their careers.
And I got to tell you something. You know what this reminds me of? Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. You surprised the NFL with something they'd never seen, so it was something that they couldn't prepare for. I kind of get the feeling this is the same thing. This is something that's going to be hard for teams to prepare for because not everybody can actually play or practice against an offense like this spread out with that many shooters. That to me is pretty amazing too, that on the flip side, this thing is very hard to actually get prepared for night in and night out.
They're super, unconventional, and the problem with that is as much of a benefit is during the regular season, it becomes something that you can't get away from in the postseason setting, because that's when people do have time to stretch out, dive in, figure out ways to go at you, and they have the rest in between games to game plan, practice, and strategize on how to do it. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish the regular season, and then once we get into the postseason, if the right matchups don't fall their way, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see that system tested and see that theory tested as to whether or not it can hold up in playoff basketball. But that's why we're here. That's why we're gonna spend the next few months all the way into June dialed in and locked in on this NBA basketball. Man, it's the best reality show going. I tell people that every day. There is no better reality show than NBA basketball.
And by the way, how the hell do you explain that the Lakers only out-rebounded the Rockets 38-37? The small ball was only off by one rebound.
Tallest man was 6'7". Tallest man for the Rockets was 6'7". Think about that. They outplayed the Lakers and beat them on their home floor last night.
That was a thing to watch, man. Follow him on Twitter at Sekou Smith NBA. Catch him on TV with those sharp jackets that his wife puts him in, looking all hot there, man. All right, Sekou, you are the man. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for dropping the insight, my friend.
All right, I appreciate you.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go, the great Sekou Smith.